If you were ever looking at purchasing some kind of course or training or coaching and you see the words manifesting, be careful. If you're ever looking at purchasing a course or enrolling in a program and you see the words multiple streams of passive income, be careful. If you ever see the words manifesting multiple streams of passive income, run. You have been warned. Put your wallet away, cut up your credit cards. This is the final warning. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump into the video. And before we do, by the way, my name is Dan Johnston. I am the creator of Dreams Around the World, ENFP Unleashed, and The Free Freelancer. And here on the YouTube channel and the podcast, my goal is to help you become the best version of yourself, all while creating an awesome life for you and those you love. Now, I'm answering a question today from Gelmi, one of the members of ENFP Unleashed, and he asked me about side hustles and passive income, and what do I think about that? You know, that he hears all the time that multiple streams of passive income are good, but don't try to do lots of things at once, and what do I think about side hustles and all that? First of all, thank you for creating what will be a very ranty video here. The term side hustle, I hate it so much, and I have to admit I've never listened to the show or podcast about it. It's just like a term I hear people say. I don't like it. Language is very powerful, and I've heard side hustle used in many ways. I've heard it used by people who are trying to do their own business, and then they have a crummy job on the side to pay the bills, and they call that their side hustle. And I'm like, why are you calling it a side hustle? That makes it sound cool. So you're like, hey guys, I got a side hustle. Unless you're selling crack on the corner, it's not a side hustle. It is a crappy job. And that's okay. Embrace the fact that it is crappy. Then you'll be more motivated to get out of it. Don't use language to make it cool. Like, yeah, I work at CVS every Friday and Saturday night. It's my side hustle. No, that is not what it is. It is a crummy job on the side. I then also heard people use side hustle to describe the business they want to create, right? I have a day job, I have a 9 to 5, but I'm working on my side hustle. It's not your side hustle. It's your passion. It's your baby. It's the thing you are creating. Side hustle diminishes it because it's also used by people who are working at CVS. Here's the thing. I just don't like this word, right? And I also don't like the concept of it. I'm going to rant about that at the end of the video in terms of this side hustle culture and what that means in terms of society and where we are all going as people. But before that, I want to get into the passive income concept. Passive income as a whole, if you don't know, it's income that comes in relatively passive. Passive income is awesome. If you've seen my video on, actually, it hasn't even been released necessarily. Maybe it has. You'll see if a little pop-up comes. But I have a video on financial advice for ENFPs, and I talk about kind of passive or residual income. Income that you get consistently month to month is a very good thing, especially if you get it without doing much work. Examples of this would be if you've written a book and you get royalties every single month. That is good, right? Passive income. And I have, I'm now using the term, I have multiple streams of passive income. I have for 4 or 5 years now from a variety of books and courses and things that I've done. I also have residual income, which is income where you're working for doing like ongoing coaching or that, but it's kind of predictable. You're getting every month. And then there's like one-off income. If you're a freelancer or coach, maybe you get one big project or client or something like that. So there's nothing wrong with passive income. Multiple streams are great. You see the little pop-ups every month in your bank account. Thing is because it's so great, it's like the marketer's dream, right? Let's sell everyone on passive income, right? Hey, do you have no skills, a job you don't like, and really nothing to contribute? Take my course and you'll be earning $10,000 a month in passive income within 3 months. Really? Is that how economies work? Is that how like capitalism works? It's just anyone with no skills can make $10,000 a month passively? Probably not, right? And that's the thing. Essentially, the way I look at it is passive income is income you earn in advance. So I'll give you an example. I published 11 books. Sometimes I say 12. There's like a book. I don't know whether I should count it or not. 11 or 12 books. And that has provided significant, essentially passive income. I do like no promoting. As you've noticed, you probably can't even find links to them around a lot of my videos. It has provided a good source of passive income. But had I written those books for someone else, when I wrote them, I was also a copywriter. I was working as a freelance writer. If I had written for other people, I would have been paid like $5,000 a book up front. Instead, you spread that out over many years. And often, if you create something of quality, the passive income will end up paying better over those many years. And there's a better benefit because instead of being paid all up front and you like run out to the casino or like, yeah, we're going to celebrate, you get it spread out over time, which I personally find is a great form of forced financial management. So here's the thing, in order to set up some kind of passive income, whether it is through investment or whether it is through writing a book or creating maybe a course that people love and keep buying, it has to be pretty good. Because otherwise it won't keep working. Yeah, you can publish a book and get some fake reviews and sort of pump it up and you might make some money for a little bit, like tricking the system, but that's not gonna work in the long term. Look at the really great authors. They write 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, and they sell consistently and they just are set. So I don't like to think of passive income as like an escape, because the people who want an escape, and I get that if right now, if you're at a job you really don't like, you'll have this urge, like I want to escape. Right? I want out of this passive income, it would be amazing. The thing is though, is once you're out of that and you get to kind of come down for a little bit, what you're really wanting to do is do something that you're going to be passionate about and enjoy and maybe makes a difference. And so the people who don't want to do that, who just want an escape from life, like they just want to lie on the couch all day, they will never have the talent and the determination and the discipline to produce either the investment strategy or the book or whatever else of enough quality that it will actually be passive income for any significant amount of time. And sometimes what I've seen people do is they try to, follow these passive income strategies and they do it in such a poor way that they end up doing way more work and earning way less money than if they just were freelance writers or something like that. So with all that said, there are, of course, legitimate ways to pursue passive income that are legitimate both in terms of contributing to society, which I think is important, and also in terms of being sustainable, right? There's no point creating this passive income investment strategy that only works for a month and then you're like, okay, I got to learn a new strategy. It's not passive in that case, right? So maybe I'll do some videos in the future about some of the legitimate strategies, and even though I rarely talk about passive income, I think my own experience with it is probably quite successful in terms of I'm still earning passive income from things from 5 years ago. So maybe I'll do some videos on that in the future, but I want to address the multiple streams of income and doing it all at once. Don't do that. So a lot of successful entrepreneurs have multiple projects. I mean, right now I have this YouTube channel which I love. I love you guys. I have a podcast, which you can check out as well if you like to listen on the go. I'll include a link to the podcast. I run 2 training courses. I do one-on-one coaching. I have a lot of things going on. I have multiple email trainings that I offer on my website for people on that. I didn't do it all at once. In fact, when I started getting more serious about YouTube, I made the decision to basically not do Facebook, not really do a podcast at first, not do really anything. And I got messages on my Facebook page. I remember this one woman messaged me. She's like, so disappointing. I saw this and I thought, yeah, an ENFP who's finally doing something. And then I looked at your page and you hadn't updated in a month, like a loser. And then I was like, that first, good attitude. Secondly, go check out YouTube. But what I mean by that is I built YouTube and worked on that. And then over time, things become a little easier, you become more comfortable and you free up some of your capacity. And then I was like, okay, let's do a podcast too. I've always wanted to do a podcast. And then I added that in. And then over time, you can add more things in, but one at a time. And then eventually you end up with multiple different assets essentially. And those could be assets that contribute to passive income. So that would be my approach. Do one thing at once, get good at it, then develop the second thing. You don't have to stop the first thing, but you get to a certain point of expertise or at least comfort with it where it's a lot easier to move on to the next thing. All right, I promised a rant about the effects of the side hustle, if you will, the part-time jobs on society. And that's what I'm going to deliver, even though I think the whole video was sort of a rant already, but that's all right. Overall, I think this is not a good trend for society. Now, if you watch this channel, you probably never heard me talk about benefits, guaranteed employment, saving to buy a house. Personally, I don't really care. I like to live on the edge. I like to do my own business. I don't need a company to guarantee my security so that one day I can be a good citizen or whatever it is. But those things are what society is built on, and we need that. If the whole world was like ENFPs going off doing their own thing, it would crumble so quickly, so quickly. You'd be like tomorrow, if ENFPs were in charge of everything, wake up and be like, the tram's late. oh no, everything is burnt down. That would be basically what would happen. Some people look at things like Uber. I'll use Uber as the example, but there's many examples of this, of basically companies that are paying people as contractors and eliminating things like health benefits and employment contracts and really guaranteed work, and taking things like taxis, where I'm not necessarily pro-taxi, but from my understanding, generally the way taxis function is you often buy a license and you have like a business that's fairly guaranteed within ways, right? The city regulates a certain amount of taxis, and you can build a business that you earn enough to potentially, pay for your kid's school or buy a house or do whatever it is you want to do. And I'm not saying most taxi drivers are good or anything else like that. I'm all for capitalism and like better services and everything else. But the thing with like Uber is they've been very clear that they want to replace taxis or their drivers with automated cars, like with self-driving cars at some point. And even before they do that, they're already there's like a concentration of wealth, where before you had like some low-level taxi drivers who are probably just getting by, maybe they were just starting out. You had people who own their own cars, like let's say small business owner, and then you have people who own like maybe 10 cars and they're like a medium business owner where they've built a pretty good life for themselves, I imagine, in terms of the profit from that. And then you look at the Uber model and it's like a lot of people doing okay, like earning some extra side money, and then one company, not even with that many employees, who's just like all the money concentrates up for. And in many cases, the way they're set up, they're paying less taxes and that kind of thing as well. I don't think it's necessarily a good trend. And now I get into real rant territory, because I was right about to get into Amazon and this sort of like the large companies where instead of having a lot of little stores, and I'm not gonna do that. That's just gonna get into serious rant territory. But I think overall, you got to respect what you deserve to earn. And I look at, I'm sounding like, I don't know, an old man here or a young, I don't know what I'm sounding like. But I look at, say, my parents' generation of if you worked a good job, the kind of money you would earn and what you could do with that in terms of buying a house or different things. And now people sort of feel grateful that they can have a job and then drive for Uber 20 hours a week on top of the job. And then they have like a 1-bedroom apartment and they think that's good. I don't like it. And I'm not gonna get all Bernie Sanders on you or anything like that. But I think the lower paid kind of, like some people call them side hustle jobs, they're not a good trend for where things are going and concentration of wealth and all that kind of thing. The way I think freelancing should work is you either are an employee and you work for a company and you get guaranteed income and benefits and all that sort of stuff, or you're a freelancer and you earn a lot more per hour, right? The general thing, like when I teach in the Free Freelancer, is if you're working for a client, you're not charging them the same hourly rate you would if you work for them. You're charging $50, $100, $150 an hour. You're a specialist, you're brought in for certain work, and you're paid very well for it. It's not a company paying someone on an hourly rate what they would earn as an employee, but without any benefits whatsoever or any guarantee or any of that. That is the large companies manipulating the system and giving you the same income you would get as an employee, but without the benefit, stability, or anything else. Again, not things I care about, but a lot of people do, and I don't think it is going to be a very good trend to see here. So now I'm curious to hear what you think about that in the comments below. I'm sure we can have a nice discussion about libertarian beliefs and capitalism and what is going on with society. What is a good side hustle? Are side hustles worthwhile? Share your comments below. And if you have not yet, do subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell beside it. I publish new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Catch you in the next one soon.